Hey guys, how y'all doing today? My name is Franchise Fanatic and welcome back to the channel. And today with you guys is another MCU movie review. I know it's been a long time since I had to say that, right? Today we're reviewing Captain America 3, aka Captain America Civil War. Now this is, it's weird. It's like going back in time, right? In a good way. You know, a lot of people say that the MCU is dead or that the new phases suck and that, oh, only Deadpool and Wolverine can save the MCU from death. I don't really agree with that. We'll get to it when I review it down the line, but going back to Civil War was kind of like a treat, you know what I mean? It's like, it's always been good, but not have any woke crap, and just have like good quality storytelling. It's in there, and it's really freaking great. And again, obviously I can just end the video in 8 seconds, say, yeah, it's good, and then just bye, but we'll get into it. So make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new. Let's talk about Captain America Civil War. So this is kind of an era in comic book history where it was a big deal, right? You got the Civil War comic. I read the first one. I have Civil War 2 where I think it's like Iron Man versus Captain Marvel, I think. I have it. I just didn't read it yet. Tell me in the comments if it's good. But this one's kind of interesting because, you have that. This was kind of around the time where you got, like, I guess, Batman versus Superman, where it's a good guy versus a good guy. And that's good, but this feels much more believable in a sense that I genuinely can understand both sides. It's not like, oh, Democrat, Republican. I know they got blue and red on the cover, okay, but hear me out. There's a lot to it than that. Really, it all kind of starts where, the Avengers are doing their, they're kicking bad guys' asses, like Tony says, and they're doing good stuff, and they're saving the day, but, there's a lot of stuff and a lot of collateral damage, right? You look at the Avengers 1, that's basically 9/11 times 50. You look at Sokovia, that's like 9/11 times 100. So, like, it's these big, earth-shattering events where, yes, people are saved and they do win, and Loki, Ultron, they all get destroyed and all that, whatever, but there's a lot of collateral damage that kind of goes with that. And with that, how do you move on from that? And, Wanda and Cap and the Avengers and Falcon and all that, they're fighting Crossbones, which, great fight scene. The fights, obviously, this is Anthony and Joe Russo. Russo brothers effing kill it every time they do an MCU, project for the most part. And a lot of stuff hits the fan. Wanda, Crossbone attempts suicide, with the grenade, and then she kind of, like, pauses the grenade and just, lifts him up, like Jedi Survivor, and kaboom, it just blows up the buildings, and that, of course, initiates the Sokovia Accords, and then, one group is kind of, obviously, we get, Iron Man, Black Widow, War Machine, Vision, Black Panther, Spider-Man's not on the cover, but he's in this, and then you get Captain America, Falcon, Wanda, Bucky, and Clint, aka, Hawkeye, and it's cool that we have the two different sides, and how do you make good guys fighting good guys not only believable, but also when they're done fighting each other, how do you make it where they're not just not friends, or they don't want to work together anymore, And I think they kind of did a pretty good job with that. Now, obviously, let's go back to the fight scenes. From the moment this movie starts, they're effing great. I mean, the energy is great. There's a few shots where it's a little bit like cut, there's a lot of quick cuts, and I'm not the biggest fan of quick cutting. I think really the fight with Black Widow and the Wakandans, I guess, like the Nigerian Wakandan guys, I think, where he's like, drop the vitamin, like the vial, and she shoots him and she's throwing baskets at him and shit like that. It's cool, but that hurt. It very much is, look, like, there's a lot of shaky cam. And then you get to Captain America versus Crossbones, and it's really good choreography. Just like this. Just like this. And then from there, you get even more badass action with, of course, the iconic airport fight scene, which apparently wasn't even shot at an airport. Obviously, it was probably some guy's backyard with a green tarp, and they just made it work. But it looks really good. It looks great. And then, of course, the end where they're not in Sokovia. Where are they at? They're in someplace, and it's like snowy. And yeah, they're just fighting. Like, it's Captain America versus Iron Man. And what starts out as I guess, difference of ideals and ideas kind of coalesces into Bucky being like, hey, I killed people. I was the Winter Soldier. I was an assassin. I murdered a lot of innocent people. I don't like that, and I want to leave that life behind and start a new life and be, the good guy. And of course, some stuff gets leaked or open with Zemo, Baron Zemo or whatever. And he's a great villain, easily one of the best, very believable villain. Of course, it's not like this cackling, I'm gonna make them fight. It's not like that. Like I think it's like the more calm version of Master Chen from Ninjago Season 4. Master Chen is like that. He wants to pit the ninja against each other. but he's a cackling effing crazy guy who just likes noodles. This dude is still crazy, but less of the cackling, more of the quiet talking type of thing, like Nico Bellic. So this is all it is, that kind of thing. And from there, you get Captain America fighting Iron Man again, but for completely different reasons. In fact, because Iron Man, of course, got to see this tape of his parents getting murdered by the Winter Soldier, and that pisses him off. And of course, there's a fight. And I want to say Captain America wins because he puts the shield in his arc reactor, and they do the iconic comic book shot with the shield and the repulsor beam or whatever. It's a great fight. It's intense, and I think it's really, really great. And then of course it ends with Iron Man kind of having bad blood against Cap, and Captain America kind of wraps it up with a letter. He's like, "Hey, I fooked up. I'm sorry. Forgive me." And then he just kind of breaks everyone out of Strikers or Rikers or one of the Ikers. I guess, I think it could have been wrapped up a little bit better, but all in all, like I said, the action is great, the story is good, and hey, we get our first introduction of not only Black Panther, which sadly, of course, Chadwick Boseman did pass away, which sucks. I think Shuri is the new Black Panther, which I'm fine with. She's well written enough. Hopefully we can, dive into that more. I know people freaked out when it was a woman, but it's happened in the comics. So if they don't f it up, it should be good. But we also get our first introduction of the canon MCU Spider-Man with Tom Holland. It's really funny because Tom Holland, he's not only he's in too many things. I know he's good, but he's in too many things. We got to get new people here. And B, he somehow looks like younger. It's weird because you look at Tom Holland. He just always looks like 21. He always looks like a really older-ish teenager. I've never seen him with facial hair. He doesn't seem to age. I don't guess. I don't know. Maybe he does. Who knows? But it's weird to see him actually younger, and his first big movie role is freaking Peter Parker. It's crazy, and he does a good job. He's by far my favorite Peter Parker, my favorite Spider-Man. And we'll get into it with, his own trilogy in the future here with these reviews, but his first introduction, really badass. I remember being in high school and seeing that trailer, the Civil War trailer. I was in Spanish class. I was like, yo soy, hold on, oh. I don't know what that is in Spanish. But, he did a little flippity-floop on the effing van or whatever. He goes, hey, everyone. That is his eye specs go like that, in. And man, it was crazy. That was around the time of when the sequel trilogy was really kind of going to, and that was oh man, Star Wars is great again. And then we get this, and it was oh man, we get Spider-Man now in a Captain America movie? Now, yeah, I know what you're thinking. This is a Captain America movie. This is really, it should be Captain America Civil War : Avengers 2.5, right? Because this does feel like a smaller scale Avengers film. There's no earth-shattering shit going on. There's no Sokovia thing in the sky. It's a grounded and believable narrative. But again, you have, just look at the freaking cover, man. You got a whole cast of people. Look at the credits. It's insane. And that Tom Holland's not even on there. There's a lot of people on here that aren't. Is Chadwick Boseman here? Yeah, okay, he's on there. But there's a lot of crazy stuff in here where it's okay, this could very much be Avengers 2.5. And again, I understand that, but I think Captain America is enough of a focal point within this story to not be, hey, this is just, everyone's here again. We didn't want to call it Avengers 2.0 or whatever, Avengers 3, because that's Infinity War. But we're doing this. And yeah, I never really got that. I never really understood that. I never really bought into that idea. This is a straight up Captain America 3. This is Cap 3. Yes, there are Avengers in it. But again, I think they handled all these characters really well. They're all written well. They all act well. Everything, I think whoever wrote this, Christopher McNuggets and Stephen McFeely, they did a really good job. They freaking killed it. And I think it's really interesting that they can kind of write all these characters and have them, feel believable and feel good, which is really great. CGI, of course, we're at the era where they're not overworking the hell out of these guys, the VFX dudes. It looks good. It looks fine. I really didn't have that many issues with the CGI. Maybe at the airport scene you can kind of notice, I have my glasses on and I also jacked up the TV settings to look better with sharpness and color intensity. I banged that up. Metaphorically banged it up, so it should be, maybe that's why, but there's a few moments where you can tell it's Robert Downey Jr. and Don Cheadle's head, effing Iron Man suit, but they're clearly not in the suit. You can tell they're kind of floaty. Hulk, Bruce Banner had the same issue in Infinity War. We'll get to that, but I'm nitpicking. It looks really good. Again, I think the weakest aspect of this movie and one of the weaker aspects of the whole MCU in general, at least at the time of recording this review here, is the comedy. It works. It's funny. I think I understand the the criticism that, oh, they're all just jokey now, and they're all the quippy guy, and they're all the jokester, and they're all funny now. No one's serious anymore, and we'll get to it. Yeah, we'll get to it. But in this movie, it feels like when they do make a joke, Vision, Spider-Man, obviously, right? That's common sense. He's going to be making jokes. Iron Man, obviously, but you get shit like Black Widow, for example. Characters that don't necessarily make jokes. There's moments where, Falcon and Bucky are running. He's like, who's that? Everyone's got a gimmick now. Stuff like that. Some of it's a little cringy. Some of it doesn't land. Most of it does, much like every other Marvel movie. But the issue, the thing that I don't have an issue with is that these characters are written to be humans. Because think about it. These movies, the MCU, it takes place in the real world. Star Wars is not in the real world. It's in a galaxy far, far away. The MCU is in our current time, and there's superheroes in it. So yeah, there's people that shoot lasers and beams and a shield, and none of this stuff should make sense, right? Like, it's all goofy, but they're all written so well that it is believable, and it does matter, and these movies are big earth-shaking events because they're very well made, and they're believable. It's not like, oh, a guy with a shield, or a guy with a reactor, no, like, this is, I'm watching it and I'm like, yeah, obviously I love Marvel, but for the average viewer, this isn't some silly, dumb comic movie. Like, this is a big thing. All these movies are. And the fact that they have some comedy in them makes these characters more human. If they were all just brooding and pissed off and sad all the time, I'd watch it, but it probably wouldn't be as fun. So I think they're able to kind of mix the humor, the light humor, the intense violence, the intense themes, and kind of have that intensity of the film in general. Civil War is an intense thing in the comics. Having it actually make sense and be fun is really cool. And again, you mix in their Black Panther, Spider-Man, all this stuff. Again, it shouldn't have worked. There's so many things going, there's so many facets going into this film where it's like, oh my god, we got this happening, we got this happening, we got Wakanda, we got Spider-Man, we got Iron Man, we got Captain America, we got the two sides, we got Vision and his love for Wanda, we got Wanda and her love for Vision, we got we got Hawkeye. There's so much to keep track of. But it's all written so well where you're never confused. And you're never like, wait, why is Zemo doing this? And why is he saying freight train in German or whatever, in Russian, who knows? It all makes sense. And that's really, really good. And again, Anthony and Joe Russo, they did The Winter Soldier, and they also did, when I review it, obviously, they did Infinity War and Endgame. Rumor has it they're actually going to return to the MCU because they freaking kill it every time they do it. Again, I really, really think that Winter Soldier is a top-tier movie. This is as well. I really don't have that many issues with it. This is regarded as one of the best MCU movies of all time for a reason. It's very good. It can be a little disorienting at times when, they're in the airport fight and they're just kind of, there's a few jokes and then Rhodey falls and it's like this really serious moment. It kind of feels like maybe you shouldn't be joking then. Again, the jokes are kind of a nitpick thing. They really don't bother me that much. When I'm watching the movie, I'm just enjoying it, and I'm laughing, and I'm enjoying the intense moments, and, it really does matter because it's good. But, again, if I had to review something, it'd really be, maybe one thing of the CGI with the floating suits and all that. You can tell Spider-Man is also CGI. When he first gets in the airport scene, I don't know if you can tell. I can tell. I got the eyes for it, I guess. Some of it is a practical suit. Some of it isn't. Most of it isn't. Doesn't bother me that much. Most of it's pretty damn good. But at the same time, some of it can be a little bit ropey. And then again, the humor is good, and it does make me laugh. And again, I enjoy it because it makes these characters more human. But at the same time, some of it can maybe be a bit dialed back, especially as we move forward to more MCU projects in this review series. But overall, man, I think Captain America Civil War is really great. Again, it ends on a pretty good note, I think. And again, according to Alan, not my friend Alan, maybe Alan, I don't know. Alan, if you're watching this, tell me in the comments. Alan Kearney or Cerny, quote, one of the best blockbusters ever made. I don't know if I agree with that. It's one of the best blockbusters, ever made. But in terms of the MCU, it is definitely one of the best MCU films of all time. I've seen them all. Again, like I said, I'm going to rewatch them for this review series, and maybe I'll change my mind. But right now, Civil War is a top-tier Marvel movie. I love it. It's freaking intense and funny and just really, really well made. And I kind of miss these movies where they're more serious tone. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of these newer MCU movies feel more goofy and jokey, which I don't have a problem with that much. But I feel like if, this is where Marvel shines. It's like Ninjago. Ninjago shines when it's intense and action-packed and a little violent. It can kind of falter a bit when they're trying to be a little jokey. They don't joke that much, but that's kind of, if I were to correlate Ninjago with the MCU, I think that's where they both kind of coincide there. They're both, really good. and until they're not with a few comedic scenes. But most of the time it works. So tell me in the comments down below what you think about Captain America: Civil War. Sorry guys, it took so freaking long. It's hard to watch a 147-minute thing when you have a lot going on. But I finished up my summer job here for a little bit, so that's good. So I have a little bit more free time where I can review these movies and watch longer films at night so I can get these videos out. So don't worry, Doctor Strange is up next. It's not going to be another freaking year wait, I promise. But yeah, again, I'd like to hear your feedback on Civil War. Tell me down below what you think. And again, we're going to push forward with Doctor Strange next time. And we got Call of Duty Advanced Warfare gameplay. We got other fun stuff. I got reaction videos coming up. Whole bunch of fun stuff. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this review. Again, tell me down below what you thought of Civil War. Thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.